canister during a protest in the town of Kabylie. And in Kiev, crowds burned the police station after officers allegedly shot and killed 2 demonstrators. State media says the clashes erupted after a policeman hit a woman during a protest on Saturday. Well, security officials fear the unrest is being organised by allies of the deposed president, Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali, to undermine the interim government. Well, the Cambodian government says heavy shelling by the Thai army has caused part of an 11th century temple to collapse. Fighting over the past 4 days has forced thousands of Thai villagers to flee the disputed border region. Hundreds of Cambodians have been evacuated. Both countries lay claim to the area surrounding the temple. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon is said to be deeply concerned about the standoff and is calling for maximum restraint. My correspondent Wayne Hay has been following developments from the Thai side of the border. He joins us now on the line from there. Wayne, we're hearing that the Cambodian Prime Minister is now calling for UN intervention.
Yeah, that's right, Sammy. He wants an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss this situation. There really doesn't appear to be any talks, or at least any public acknowledgement that there are talks going on at the moment between the Thai and Cambodian governments. The Thai government is saying that it wants the Cambodians to make the first call. In other words, to start the talks, to make that phone call to the Thai capital, Bangkok, to open negotiations. The Thais won't make that first step. They say that time has passed and they want the Cambodians to take the first step. So you're right, Hun Sen has called for the United Nations to intervene in this situation. As you see a police helicopter fly over the border area where I am now. At the moment, things are calm here. There was a gunfight on Monday morning, but at the moment, the fighting seems to have stopped for now.
What do we know about reports of damage to the temple? How much of a building will there be left if this goes on to argue over?
Well, that's the irony over the whole thing, isn't it? That here is this ancient temple, this amazing tourist attraction in the middle of this disputed area, the area that these 2 nations have been fighting over for so long. And it appears that this shelling has damaged it quite badly, according to the Cambodians anyway. We can't really get into that area to verify these claims, but we've seen these pictures coming out on Cambodian television with the Cambodian authorities, the military, claiming that it was Thai shelling that has damaged this temple. Certainly on Sunday night, when they alleged this damage took place, at least the worst of the damage, there was a lot of shelling taking place by the Thais, aiming those artillery guns towards Cambodian territory. So I guess not surprising if it is true that this temple in the middle of the disputed area has been damaged.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks, Wayne Hay. Japan's Prime Minister Naoto Kan has called for Russia to return 4 islands claimed by both nations. Kan was speaking at a rally in Tokyo attended by hundreds of former Japanese residents of the island chain. They're known as the Northern Territories in Japan and the Southern Kurils in Russia. The dispute is expected to be discussed when Japan's foreign minister visits Moscow on Friday. Well, dozens of homes have been burned down by bushfires in Western Australia. More houses are under threat as the blaze engulfs the outskirts of Perth. Firefighters say 1,600 hectares of land was destroyed over the weekend. Andrew Thomas reports now from Sydney.
After widespread floods and a tropical cyclone, the latest natural disaster to hit Australia, bushfires. Southeast of the West Australian capital Perth, a spark from industrial equipment lit bone-dry grass, a second fire developing to the north of the city. Gusty winds fanned the flames, houses in their path destroyed, and residents urged to abandon property.
All of a sudden the police just came along and said, please move along now, like the fire has jumped with the wind and everyone had to leave.
During daylight, the fire is being fought from the air, as well as from land. But it's been overnight when helicopters can't fly that the flames have been at their most destructive.
It's horrendous conditions. We knew it was going to be difficult to control. These sort of fires overnight, we don't have the aerial support, but the ground crews get in there and do their best to protect properties and hold it.
While winds remain strong, the flames have the upper hand. Homeowners doing what they can to stop their progress.
I'll keep it nice and wet and hopefully the fire doesn't get over here, eh?
These fires come 2 years to the day after Black Saturday, the worst bushfires in Australian history that killed over 150 people. So far, property the main victim this time around. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Sydney.
A general strike in Bangladesh is paralysing much of the country. Security forces are in a heightened state of alert. Our correspondent Nicholas Haq is in the capital, Dhaka.
10,000 police officers have been deployed across the country as the opposition party, the Bangladesh National Party, called for a general strike. And right now, they're shouting hartal, hartal, which means general strike. They want a total shutdown of the country, and this is following a night of riots. 10 buses have been burnt down, and a bomb was detonated inside Dhaka University, injuring 2 people. The opposition party are said to be unhappy about the rising food prices as well as the stock market prices falling. Now, later on today, share market brokers are said to join the protests, and the situation here is increasingly tense.
Well, South Sudan is expected to become the world's newest country shortly when the final result from the secession referendum is announced. The nation's global diaspora voted in the poll. Around 3,500 live in the U.S. county of San Diego in California, which is home to the country's 3rd largest Sudanese community. Rob Reynolds has been asking them about their hopes for the future.
When Matthew Riek walks the streets of San Diego, he sometimes thinks of the long journey he endured as one of South Sudan's lost boys, orphans wandering through a war-ravaged wilderness.
We walked day and night. We were afraid of being discovered by the enemy and killed. And on the way, we did have some of us that were eaten by wild animals.
Matthew is one of about 3,500 South Sudanese in San Diego, part of a worldwide diaspora. In January, many in the community cast their votes in the independence referendum. Chuol Tut runs San Diego's South Sudanese Community Center.
I was born in the war and grew up in the war, and now is the time to vote. That means it's going to be my last bullet for that war.
Refugees who came to the U.S. from South Sudan did not have an easy time. When Agnes Olwar arrived 17 years ago, America was far from what she had imagined.
When I got there, it was 1-bedroom apartment with 5 or 6 guys, roommates, then plus me and 2 younger kids in 1-bedroom apartment. And you can imagine how can we live like this? You know, there is a lot of drug dealers going around. There is a lot of shooting going around. So I tell my husband, I wish I'd go back, live in refugee camp other than, because I was scared all the time.
Now she's the proud owner of her own hairdressing business with a child in college. But South Sudan beckons. Even though they've spent years making their lives here in the United States, many South Sudanese say they're eager to return to their homeland and help build a new country.
When the peace comes, all those people will be going back to Sudan, and they will come with a skill, whatever the skill they have, to bring that nation. That will build up the country. I have to go back and do whatever I can for those people who need the skill.
Matthew Riek, who now has a master's degree in public administration, wants to work for the new government.
One could be thought of as crazy if you want to go back there. But for me, you know, having gotten to where I am today, especially with the education that I've gotten, I feel like, you know, I would do a disservice to my country where I was born, you know, if I don't go there and do something.
Agnes Olwar, too, is ready to leave the relative comfort of life in California for something deeper and more meaningful.
I really want to go back and help out. And also we have like a lot of family that has been scattered all over the world. I wish one day we can just go back and be as family one time. We can have a place we can call home.
Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, San Diego, California.
Well, Japan's Sapporo Snow Festival has opened with a showcase of giant ice sculptures. Hundreds of visitors braved freezing temperatures to tour the Winter Wonderland, featuring artworks including this replica of China's Temple of Heaven. Also on display were characters from a popular cartoon series. Well, the annual event has attracted an average of about 2 million visitors over the last 5 years. And before we wrap up this cool show, we could say, let's tell you what's going on our top story in Egypt. Pro-democracy protesters there entering their 14th day. Demonstrations in Cairo's Liberation Square are continuing to call for the end of President Mubarak's 30-year rule.